morning, everybody. Welcome to our last official curriculum math class of the year. You did it. This is awesome. Just a reminder, we still have class next week, but we will be doing other things, so make sure you show up. I would love to have everyone there next week so we can celebrate our last week of 6th grade together. Okay. Let's look at our learning targets for lesson 11. We have I can find the MAD for a set of data, and I know what the mean absolute deviation, MAD, measures and what information it provides. So we've been working a lot with finding the mean, and yesterday we were looking at distances away from the mean. We're going to take that knowledge today and apply it to finding the mean absolute deviation, and you will find out in this lesson what that means. Okay. So 11.1 Shooting Hoops Part 1. Elena, Jada, and Lynn enjoy playing basketball during recess. Lately, they have been practicing their free throws. They record the number of baskets that they make out of 10 attempts. Here are their data sets for their 12 school days. Okay, so here you have their data. What that means is, like, on Monday, Elena made 4. On Tuesday, Elena made 5. On Wednesday, she made 1, etc. It wants us to calculate the mean number of baskets each player made and compare the means. What do you notice? So you guys should be doing that on your own. I will remind you how. First, you need to add up all the numbers. So take Elena's data and add them together. Okay? And then, once you add them all together, you're going to take that number and you're going to divide it by how many there are. So, add, here, I'm going to write the steps, on the side. Add all numbers, and then divide by how many numbers there are. Okay, so please go ahead and pause this video. Do that on your own for both Elena, Jada, and Lynn. You can use a calculator to add them if you want to. That's totally fine. Don't forget to divide by how many numbers there are, and then record their means on the side. Unpause this video when you're done. Go ahead. Okay, hopefully you unpaused this because you finished. So you should have gotten a mean of 12. For Elena, Jada, and Lynn. So you should have noticed that they all have the same mean. So even though they all had very different numbers or different numbers each day, their average is the same. So that's really interesting. And that tells us that they kind of wait, hold on one second. I'm sorry, your 12 was not your mean. 12 was, I'm sorry, 12 is the number of, it's not your mean, it's not your final answer. 12 is the number of, how many numbers there are for each. So I'm sorry, I missed a complete step. So once you added all your numbers together and you divide them all by 12, you're going to get means of 5 for each one. Sorry, that was my mistake. It's kind of early in the morning for me right now. Okay, so your means are 5, 5, and 5. So like I said, still the same mean for each one, but not 12. So on average, they score the same amount. So their average score is 5 per day. And if you guys put 12 down as your answer, like I just did, one way to know that that's not right is if you look in the data set, there's no numbers even close to 12. So that would not make sense for that to be their average or their middle number. So their average mean for each of them is 5. So that means that on average they score about 5 baskets a day. So what that tells us is, like I just said, on average they all score about 5 a day. So maybe they score a little bit less some days and a little bit more, but on average they all score 5 baskets a day. Okay, for 11.2, we are now going to look at a dot plot that is representing this data, okay? So I'm going to turn the page. So here we have dot plots showing the number of baskets Elena, Jada, and Lynn each made over 12 school days. So here are dot plots. The first thing you need to do is you need to mark the mean with a triangle. Okay. So that's pretty easy because we know our mean is the same for each. So we're going to take a triangle and we're going to put it right at 5. Okay, here's our triangle. Then contrast the dot plot distributions. Okay, so we're going to see what's different about them. That's what contrast means, compare and contrast. So let's go ahead and look at them. You can pause this and kind of take a second to look at the distribution on your own, then unpause it when you're ready. So if you look at these 3, you see that this one is more symmetrical. It's also more evenly spread. Remember when we were talking about butter on a bread, this one has even butter throughout, where this one is more clumped in the middle. And it has more of a peak at 5 and 6. This one is interesting because I would say it's heavier on the left side, but it has a heavier peak on the left side, but then it's more evenly spread on this one. So that's kind of a combination of the two. All right, now let's think about what these distributions actually mean about their basketball playing. So A says, would you say that all 3 students play equally well? Well, let's think about it. They all average about 5 baskets a day. But if you look at Elena, she's making 1 basket one day, 2 baskets another day, 9 baskets another day. So is that the same? Is she playing just as well as Lynn, who's making 6 baskets a lot of days and 5 baskets a lot of days, but has never only made 1 or 2 baskets? That's up to you to decide. So what do you think? Do you think they're playing equally? Do you think they're not? Now, would you say that all 3 students play equally consistently? So consistently means you're doing pretty much the same thing every day. So if you're getting 4 or 5 baskets every single day, that's pretty consistent. If you're getting 1 basket one day and 9 baskets the next, that's very inconsistent. So for this one, Lynn is definitely the most consistent of the friend group because she's getting consistently between 3 to 7 baskets, where Elena is getting 1 basket, 2 basket, 3 basket, 4, all the way to 9. So Lynn is definitely more consistent and Elena is more variable. Okay, I'm going to put those on the side so that you guys can see. This is, variable. This is consistent. Okay, if you could choose one player to be on your basketball team based on their records, who would you choose? That's up for you to decide. Do you want someone who's very consistent at always getting around 5 or 6? Or do you want someone who occasionally gets 8 or 9 baskets? That's up for you to decide, so I'm not going to go over that. But think about which you would rather have on your team. All right, last one is 11.3. So the table shows Elena, Jada, and Lynn's basketball data from an earlier activity. Recall the mean of Elena's data as well as that of Jada and Lynn's data was 5. Record the distance between each of Elena's scores and the mean. So we did that yesterday. The distance between 5 and whatever number she got. So when she got the number 4, that's 1 away from 5. 5 is 0 away. 1 is 4 away. 6 is 1 away. 9 is 4 away. 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, 0, 2. So go ahead and do that. I did that for you, so go ahead and fill that in on your own. Now we're going to look at the next part of the question. So it says, now find the average of the distances in the table. So find the mean of the distances. So you're going to take these numbers right here, and you're going to find the mean of them. Okay, so that means you're going to add them up. 0 plus 4 plus 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2. So let's do that together. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. Plus 2 is 11. Plus 6 is 17. Plus 4 is 21. Plus 2 is 23. So you're going to have 23. And you're going to be dividing 23 by how many numbers? And I believe there's 12, but let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, there is 12 of these. So now we need to divide 23 by 12. And we're going to get 1.91. Or we could round it to 1.92. And that's what we're going to put right here. So what we just calculated is mean absolute deviation. So it's the average of how far away from the mean our data is. Oops, 1.92. That's what we just calculated. So we found the distance away from the mean for each data, and then we calculated the mean of that. So you're going to go ahead and do this again for the rest of them. So remember, for each of these, you're finding how far away the number is from 5. So remember, this is 3, 1, 0, etc. And then you're going to take this whole list of numbers that you made, and you're going to calculate the mean. Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing for Lynn. So once you have your mean absolute deviation for each of them, you're going to take those 3 numbers and you're going to compare them. And then you're going to look at the dot plots, and you're going to see about how the relationships relate to the dot plot. So maybe one of them has a much bigger deviation, and maybe one has a much smaller deviation. And I want you to think about which graph has a smaller deviation and which one has a bigger deviation, and how that makes sense. So is Lynn, who has very consistent and clumped data in the middle, is she going to have a bigger deviation from the mean or a smaller one? So that's what you're going to kind of look at once you do your calculations. All right, that is it. Do the practice problems as well. I know we're kind of ending math in the middle of a unit, but doing this is going to prepare you for 7th grade when you do statistics. Let me know if you have questions. Send me a message and I will help you out. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I can't wait to see you on Monday. Bye-bye.